All right. Howdy, peeps. Obstacle Dominator episode 25.
Five, I think. 25.
Look at that, man. Season 3. I think that's more episodes than Hunter. No, we made it to like 40 or something like that. But speaking of Hunter, it's freaking a chaos time having him back on. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in the actual episode. We're here to talk to you about Train Like the Pros. Our guide used to be called Obstacle Dominator. We called it Training Guide 2.0, 3.0. We just changed it because literally this is how the pros trained. It's It's devised by primarily Brakken with some hints of me in there. And it's the training systems that I follow. It's the training systems that Brakken follows. It's the training systems that have been proved for around 100 years on how to predominantly dominate in an endurance sport. And obviously it's specialized to obstacle course racing. But in case you forgot, it's OBDOMVIP is the discount code to get 20% off. You can get the full package, which is the Train Like the Pros guide, the one that we came out with, and then also the older one that was inspired by Hunter and Ben Greenfield. It's got a lot more lifting to it. Honestly, the full thing, you can use the discount code on that. It's a complete package. Like, I cannot think of a more complete training guide than that. However, if you just want the Train Like the Pros guide, you can 100% succeed in all your obstacle course racing goals by just using that guide. It's walkthrough guides on exactly how to plug in your own numbers and exactly what workouts to do each week.
That's it. This is what I use this year to prep for stadiums and an ultra. This is the real deal.
Yeah, I don't think that's the epitome of short course of what we got right now and long course. So everything in between.
That's right. All right, we're going to jump into it, maybe even dive in, would you say, Benny, to our episode today, brought to you exclusively by Artistic Organics, Texas's premier holistic nutrition and healing shop. ArtisticOrganics.com. Let's dive.
Welcome to the ObstacleDominator.com podcast featuring Benny Gifford and Brakken Crocker. Whether you want to dominate your next obstacle race or just get started in obstacle racing, you're about to discover every tactic you need to know, from gear to training to nutrition. Get the latest tips from the trenches, get your questions answered, and show up at your next obstacle race ready to dominate. And now, here's Benny and Brakken.
Are we still sponsored by Artistic Organics?
Hell yeah, we are. I've actually got my oil here because I have to take this. Actually, I'm gonna take it right now because I take this about an hour and a half before I go to bed. And I usually only take like 4 or 5 drops because that's what I found for me where I feel the benefits. But I've been overdosing on this stuff like crazy because I was told that I just got back from Mexico for my second set of surgeries and stuff for my teeth. And I was told I couldn't train for 6 weeks. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, right, there's no way. Well, it's been exactly 7 days since that surgery. And I've already been training for 3 days. And I had a high intensity session today and everything went great. There was no pain. She said, if you train, there will be pain. And then the pain will lead to, failure of dental work that you had done. And so she said, pain is the governor. So if you don't have pain, you're good. And I've been checking in with her and she's like, I mean, that's amazing. Keep going. And I've just been drowning myself in this. So if you're dealing with injuries or hell, wanting to prevent injuries, this is the stuff to go. This is the 700 milligram Artistic Organics sublingual tincture, which is a fancy way of saying an oil that you put under your tongue. I forget that it's under there. You let it sit for as long as you can so it can absorb. And yeah.
All right, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here. The pain is not causing the dental failure. The pain is the indication that dental failure is about to occur, correct?
Yeah, it's not.
So if you're not feeling the pain anymore, you don't have an early warning sign that it's about to occur. So you're going to get back to training and then your teeth are going to fall out.
So CBD is not like Advil where it's chemically designed to block pain receptors. CBD is a cell signal regulator, which means it's going to do whatever your body prioritizes as a healing process that it's able to do. It doesn't block pain. It actually.
So why are you able to work out 5 weeks early then because of CBD? What has it done?
Well, presumably it's because it's allowing, because I put it in my mouth and I let it actually sit like on the dental site, the surgery site where it was. I'm assuming it's just massively speeding up the recovery process and whatever it is. I mean, I don't speak dental, but whatever needs to happen with the gums there to make them more to where they can handle the pulsing of blood from when your heart rate gets up. They can handle chewing and stuff faster. I don't know. It's just healing them quicker. So it's not blocking pain, because trust me, up until a few hours ago, I was able to say I felt no pain, but me and my brother bashed heads when my mouth was closed. And so now I've got some freaking pain in my mouth.
Hunter, when's the last time you actually bashed heads with somebody with your mouth closed?
That's what I'm saying.
Am I allowed to start talking now? Or are you guys done with this fucking rigmarole of CBD commercials, you crack jobs? I don't know what the hell I just witnessed. I couldn't tell if that was a commercial or if it was just you two talking and waiting for me to say something.
I couldn't believe you stayed quiet for that entire time with him talking about
I had no
sped up his
fucking
healing
clue what was going
600% and then headbutted his brother.
and my erection's 2 inches longer. No, I have no clue what the hell happened. You said, hey, let's start the podcast. And then I thought you were going to intro us, Brakken. And then all of a sudden, Beni rolls off this CBD commercial. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to Obstacle Dominator since I've been gone?
Well, we have a 15-second bit we're supposed to do, but I got sidetracked by Benny's witchcraft and wizardry.
Dude, I don't know how that 4 little raindrops of CBD works on you. I have a tincture in my bathroom. I take 4 full droppers every time I go to bed because I'm a grown-ass man. I don't know, what the hell you're doing.
What's the milligram count? That's what matters. Like, what is it?
It's 1,500.
Holy shit, dude. That is excessive. You are taking, you're getting it for free, so it doesn't matter, but you are taking way more than you need to. The more athletic you are, like the more fit, the more like receptors you naturally have in your endocannabinoid system. So you need less. Like, unless you're going through some.
I don't think so, man. I will totally admit CrossFit makes my body feel so fucking terrible. I hate it. I honestly hate CrossFit. I used to like CrossFit when I watched it on TV, and now that I've started competing in CrossFit, I'm taking melatonin and CBD. I rub this shit on my fucking knees.
Do you not go to the same cult meeting that Beni does? Why don't you have the earring yet?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm getting a belly button ring just before Tahoe, so I'm saving all my piercings until then.
That's a mistake. It's going to get really cold. It's going to mess with your belly chakra.
I'm only going to have it for like 24 hours. I lost a bet when I went to the CrossFit Games because I thought I honestly could break into the top 15. And then I obviously got cut early, but those cuts were so aggressive. It was like boom, 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 boom. So now next thing you know, I'm fucking.
Who'd you lose that to?
Ring. This girl named Alexis. She was on one of the top 5 teams, took top 20 in the open as an individual. So she's super competitive.
Last name's Texas, right?
I don't know. Oh, that's that porn star. I don't know why everybody was so into that porn star. Not my speed.
She's not attractive. No offense to Alexis, Texas, in case you're one of our avid listeners.
She's like, I love Obstacle Dominator. I'll never listen to you again. Fuck you guys.
We just lost the porn star market. We're done.
Damn it. That's where all the CBD money was going. Those girls need to take as much as they can before they get back to work.
Yeah, I've always wondered maybe that's not the appropriate conversation.
The only reason why I may assume that Benny's dental work may be working a little bit with the CBD, I don't know if this is true at all, but basically it does have anti-inflammatory properties, and it may or may not, just being on top of that site, may be kind of neutralizing the inflammation. That's the only scientific approach that I'd have to it. Otherwise, I think Benny's doing a fucking terrible job of letting his dental work heal, and will likely be back in Mexico and Tijuana selling his body for sex for teeth.
I think he met someone down there. I think this is all a long con to get back down to him or her.
Benny's just been doing donkey shows down there.
Every time I come back, I've lost a tooth because the donkey show didn't go well and it kicked me in the face. It's an excuse.
Just trying to give a little kiss on the cheeks. And he's like, "Katoom!" There's another tooth.
Dude, you're the one who told me that donkey shows. I didn't know what donkey shows were until I lived with Hunter, and then my horizons expanded.
In all honesty, I've never seen a donkey show, but I know of a donkey show, and I would love to. I don't know if I'd actually love to go to one now that I mention it, but the idea is quite. It's tantalizing. The idea.
You're the one who told me.
I can't say that's tantalizing at all.
It is tantalizing for me. All right, Brakken, we're not all from Wisconsin. All right, I live in California. I'm free like a fairy.
I have an issue with California. Have you seen all these commercials that California, like where happy cows are? Like, that's a direct slap in the face to Wisconsin. Or the dairy steak.
Dude, I've driven through Fresno so many times, and the cows there are not happy. It's honestly where it's so crazy. That actually makes me think that the world is dying. If you drive through Fresno, it's where all the livestock is, and there's so much shit going on there that you can smell it from like 20 miles out, and then you have to drive like 20 miles through it, and then another 20 miles past it to get out of the smell. And for so long, you're just like, oh my God, the world is dying. It scares the shit out of me. Yeah, I never wanted to drive through there again. I was actually going to drive to Tahoe this year, and then I remembered Fresno smelled so bad, so I booked tickets.
So I was in New Zealand a couple of years back with Lisa. When we went down there for a race, and we were driving, and like we just kept seeing these goats everywhere. We're like, this is awesome. They just let the goats loose, because in Wisconsin, every once in a while, when a field gets overgrown, they will just bring out a herd of goats, and it just mows the field for people.
Yeah.
So we thought they were doing that, but just like, oh, look at all these goat farms. They're just free range goats everywhere. Like, this is all, I love this country. And Lisa's pregnant, really pregnant, and her hormones are like all out of whack. And she's like, I just love these goats. They're so cute. Like the mom and me, I just love these baby goats. And like 2 days later, we're talking to someone like, oh yeah, like they all went to slaughter this week. You saw them on like their last day on this earth. And Lisa's like, oh, I can't, this is the worst. I can't handle this country. Because like 1,000 baby goats got slaughtered that week. And she thought they were just like in the countryside frolicking.
Dude, there's also, did you hear about the possums there and how they absolutely hate them?
No.
They call them pests. It's a pest to them, but they go peast. It's a dirty peast. And basically they all celebrate. Like if you find a possum, just run it over as hard as you can, as fast as you can. Or if you have like a stick or a hammer, just smash it dead. And honestly, like anytime, like you see the possum today, kill that motherfucker. Like they hate possums.
It's crazy what other countries have for pests. Macaulay's in Budapest right now in Hungary. And he was just telling me they don't really have their version of squirrels raccoons. Because we have raccoons in our alleyways, and like they always get in your garbage cans. Over there, he said they're hedgehogs. Everyone hates hedgehogs because they just like are always getting into their trash and their rubbish piles. Can you imagine how awesome that'd be? To just find little hedgehogs everywhere. They hate them. They're so sick of hedgehogs, and I'd be delighted.
They're so cute.
Yeah, dude, I'd keep all of them in like a big bag, and
that's way better than raccoons.
Dude, coons are scary as fuck, dude. Luckily, it's kind of sad. Ever since the fire, like coons used to fuck my trash up all the time, and now after the fire, I think all of them pretty much died. And now nobody fucks with my trash.
Oh, do you miss them now?
Yeah, there's some kind of nostalgia behind me picking up trash in the morning, being like, "You pieces of shit," and then like I'm like, well, where they all go? I like put the trash out on the ground. I'm like, guys, come back.
So what's gonna step in now in the food chain and take over in those parts?
I kind of feel bad. I've been posting a lot on my Instagram about dead animals because literally, dude, basically this is crazy. So it burnt all the way down, leveled the earth. It was basically just ash and rocks that was left over after the fire. Then all of a sudden it rained, created a super bloom. There's never been more insects than I've ever seen in my entire life here, whether it's butterflies. Like there was millions of butterflies for like 2 months straight in California. Crazy.
It's like the ending of Lion King.
Basically. Yeah. And dude, and then all of a sudden, whatever eats the bugs grew and multiplied in mass quantity, and then whatever ate those things grew and multiplied in mass quantity. And now, dude, there's dead animals everywhere. There's dead rats, there's dead snakes, there's dead scorpions, tarantulas all over the place. I'm seeing them in numbers I've never seen before, and I can't imagine what's either killing them or what's going to come of all this, because it's going to create some kind of super beast that I'm super excited to try to catch.
This is all you're actually training for?
100%.
Predator.
Dude, I've realized that pretty much my entire goal in life is to work out a bunch and then find a woman. And then by the time I find her, I'm going to start to impregnate her. And then from that point on, I'm just going to like dig big holes in the backyard with my shirt off and just try to impress her as much as I can by the end of the day. I'm like, did you see that big hole I dug over there? Or did you see that animal that I caught and put in the hole that I dug yesterday? I'm like, that's basically going to be my job. I'm going to live on a farm, bare-chested in overalls with either a hammer or an axe on me at all times.
Hunter, tell Brakken what you told me your true motivation for working out was in Park City about the world's strongest man coming up to you in the street.
Oh, yeah. You mean taking my children? Yeah. I'm also training as hard as I can for when one of the world's strongest men comes and finds me and tries to take my children. I have to fight him to death. But now here's something I have to admit. The guy who won World's Strongest Man this year is now one of my best friends. So now I'm best friends with the World's Strongest Man. So now we can fight dragons together. So
okay, so that makes me think about something I thought about in the past. If you took out fighters, who would you be most like of all the people you've ever competed against, all the different realms, like strongmen, CrossFitters, OCR? What sport would give you the hardest test in a fight to the death?
Well, I mean, I wrestled for years. So if you took all contact sports out of it,
No, you just took out fighters.
Fighters, like, does that include wrestlers? Because if you fucking include wrestlers, you're screwed.
I'm talking. Yeah, take out any sort of combat sport. Like you said, you're preparing for World's Strongest Men, but I always assumed I could just like jog a little bit ahead of him for like 3 or 4 hours until their lungs or heart gave out, and then I could just kick them to death.
Totally, but I assume if we're talking fights, we're talking like 2-man enter, 1-man leave, Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. So
Let's say it's Thunderdome. If you can,
in the Thunderdome,
not a range, you can go as long as you want.
I would say World's Strongest Men, like big fuckers. Because I don't think I went to the CrossFit Games, and there's certainly some really jacked people, but there's nobody I thought I was afraid to get in a fist fight with. Like I would have fist fought anybody. It would have been sweet. But after witnessing some of these guys from World's Strongest Man, like my buddy Martinez, the guy who won, he's my height and 345 pounds, and he is intimidating for sure. But then I see videos of him working out with Thor, who's 6'8" and like 400 pounds, and there's just nothing you could do. Like you could try your best to run away from the Thunderdome, but if he got a hold of you, like you'd be like the only thing you could possibly do is like get after one of his eyes. Otherwise, you're screwed.
You think if they got their hands on you, it's over?
100%, dude. I watched him. So I have these 2 blocks that I do pull-ups on for just like grip and OCR training. It's basically like if you took a 2x4 and it was like made of metal.
Yeah.
And you saw it off, so it's like 6-inch blocks. I do those things. Mac came to my house and could barely get one. This is Mac Rush, like super fucking jacked, super good at obstacles, Mac Rush. I watched Martins get on it, 345, and just start repping out, no problem. So it just made me think, dude, all he needs to do is just get a hold of like your wrist, your leg, your T-shirt. They're so strong grip-wise, they won't let go. And you could start
they could break bone with their hand.
They could probably grab your skull if they grabbed your neck or anything like that and break all the things.
Jeez.
Could you get him tired enough that his strength wouldn't be there anymore? Or even at like deathbed, would he be too strong?
Probably. So Aaron Hine, the guy who owns Fit Aid, told me this really funny story. It's a little bit of an off tangent, but I'll make it really quick. He had this crazy pit bull, and his crazy pit bull was just like so strong and massive. And basically a deer jumped into their yard and they just started fighting to the death. And this deer started stabbing him with the horns. The dog started fighting back. And this fight like went on for over an hour. And he didn't want to get in the way of these 2 fucking huge animals. So he just let it go on to the point where they were both just so exhausted. They both fell on top of each other. And he said the dog eventually just like they both fell down and were gasping for air. And the dog just turned and just bit down onto the deer's neck and just suffocated it. Well, just like this one, like both of them gasping for air, had no energy left and just bit down to its esophagus and killed the fucking thing. And that's exactly how I feel he would do. He'd just turn over and grab my throat and go last second.
It's interesting.
Have you guys seen, there's a video, it's way back when there were any PETA or animal rights or any of that kind of stuff. People wanted to answer the question of who would win, a lion or a tiger. And so they trapped a lion and a tiger in a pit and they just let them go at it. And nobody wins. They just go to complete exhaustion to where they're just like stumbling and falling over. And eventually they go their separate ways. Who do you think would win though in a lion and tiger? I mean, it was a bigger lion than tiger, so it wasn't exactly even, but I thought the tiger would win. They just seem like more athletic creatures than the lion does.
Nah, that's just all a myth, man. Everybody thinks tigers are cool because they got stripes and shit, and they're kind of more of stalkers. But a cat's a cat. It's like, those are both big motherfuckers.
No,
I'm more afraid of a hippo.
Hippos are terrifying.
I watched this Instagram, Real Nature or Nature is Metal. Like, go follow these things, and they're so insane. It's all the videos from animals in the wild that like have been documented, and like it's just full animal contact of them killing each other. And hippos just kill everything. You watch. There's this video of a huge alligator that got stuck in a hippo pit. They just ripped him to shreds. Or like I watched a video of a lion try to go up and kill a hippo while it was sleeping. Hippo just grabs its head and throws it, and basically I think killed it. Yeah, so it's like of a lion, we're talking about lion versus tiger. Think about just hippo versus anything. You lose all.
Yeah, it's like Thor, I guess, versus anything.
Yeah.
Hunter,
Yeah.
so before we get too far off, I know you're probably exhausted talking about this. You just got to run us through the CrossFit experience, dude.
Well, one I would say is really cool. Only thing I have regrets about is like now that I look back on it, it was my first and ever individual CrossFit competition. I had done actually at a sanctioned event where there's referees and there's equipment and everything like that, not like the open. And going out there, it's such a different thing. Like everything that you do here in the gym is like, built to your specificity. And it's like designed, like you're like, hey, I'm going to put my barbell right next to the pull-up bar so I can basically just go from barbell straight to the pull-up bar, straight to the box. Like you create everything so it's easy. Like you're like, I'm not going to put this over there and like over here, so I have to walk back and forth and do this, that, and the other thing. So when you get out there and you're in this humongous arena surrounded by tens of thousands of people and there's tons of athletes next to you and there's all of this crazy amount of equipment, you're like, holy shit, this is totally different. So that was a really mind-blowing experience. Like the level of production that they're on compared to obstacle course racing is like the difference between like a Pee Wee football league team and like the Super Bowl. It's like two different worlds.
Do you think that's because of the complexity and the scope of the event? Because like obstacle racing, it's the same thing no matter where you go. You set up a course, festival area, that's it. There's not really much else to it. So do you really think it's that the production level is that much higher, or they just have so much more going on?
Well, one, they have so much more going on, but do you remember like the last time we went to TMX, like the level of professionalism where we had like our athlete area, then we were given bibs, and like it was like that on a much, much higher level. Like it was just so crazy the amount of players that were in the game, meaning staff, athletes, people who are setting up equipment, judges, announcers, media. It was like, holy shit. Okay. Like there's a reason why the sport is so much bigger than what we do. It's insane. Like there's so much going on. Like you're in stadiums upon stadiums full of people. And then when you leave a stadium full of people, you go outside and there's more people in another stadium watching another event. Because it's either like you're at the individual event and then you go over in the next stadium's a team event or the teens or the masters. Wow. And it's like, Jesus, this is so insane that they're doing this. And it like made me just think like if Spartan Race just wanted to step things up just a little bit, they could really take things to the next level. I just feel like we have not capitalized in a way by any means. And I was just listening to your guys' podcast, the shitty podcast, Optical Dominator, after I retired a little bit earlier of Brakken and Kirk DeWint. And well, you specifically, like the first sentence in the podcast was like, who do you think made Obstacle Podcast so shitty? Well, first I'm going to blame Matthew Davis, Hunter McIntyre.
Yep.
So eat shit. I don't make podcasts shitty. I just tell it how it is. I think our sport is fucking awesome. That's why I've done it for so long. But I also at the same time am not – I got a big enough pair of balls and I could pay my own way so I can tell the people who run the show.
What was my sentence? Did I say who made it shitty, or did I say who's responsible for people being in love with trash talking and drama in the sport?
No. I mean,
people are obsessed with every word that comes out of your mouth. Like and I know you have to see it because I would never say this to you outside of this context, but like you're a halfway intelligent person. Like you have a good read on people. Like you have the most obnoxious legions of fanboys and fangirls in this world. Like everything you say, people repeat the next couple months thinking like, oh, like the biceps win races thing. There are people out there, thousands of people who live by your sarcastic hashtag.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty great.
They'll say something joking or not even thinking about it, or when you're drunk, and people will like take it as gospel. And so that's why I think you're responsible.
You should. When you meet a Messiah, listen to his words and live by it, okay? That's all I'm going to say.
Bracken, when I came into the sport, I thought that peanut butter sandwiches were literally I didn't think he was kidding. I thought PB&Js were the secret to athletic success. I ate an insane amount of PB&Js hippie right here. You can't tell when he's being serious or not because he says everything at the same time.
Let me tell you guys something. You know what I did just recently that's made my life a whole lot better? I recently unblocked Kevin Gillotti just so I could start talking shit to him online again. I just started my first online argument with him, and I'm having the best time ever. It is the greatest. And I can't wait to get everybody who loves me in OCR just to talk tons of shit to him. I'm just going to start screenshotting his things and I'm like, if anybody hates Kevin Gillotti as much as me, please send him a message. There's going to be hordes of people making Kevin Gillotti's life so hard.
No, I'm a KG supporter. I support that man living his life. But listen, here's the difference between you two. You have a passion for this being a hobby. He has a passion for living. This courses through his life. Every OCR interaction is serious to him. Like that, you can't put a call out to people like that because he's not going to appreciate it the way you do.
Did you see what just happened with him and Novakovic on the OCR Onion page?
No.
I didn't see that.
Great.
Although OCR Onion, I'll give them a plug. I really like what they're doing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's super, super fun.
I get a message each week asking if it's me or Macaulay.
That's awesome. Dude, so today, basically, they made this really funny post. Like, there's a picture of VJ where he kind of looks like he has like a horse face. And they said, they asked, like, did VJ Jones, like they asked about VJ Jones and whether or not he took performance enhancers. And his response was nay, like spelt like the way a horse would spell it.
Right.
And of course, Kevin Gillotti's like, it's not cool to accuse people of steroids. It's not cool at all, bro. Like, got on there and just starts attacking.
Yeah, because this is real to him.
Oh, well, I lost you first.
We just lost his visual.
Sorry.
That's exactly what I was talking about, where Matt Novakovic then jumps in and they start off in this long back and forth. I put one comment in and I was like, nah, I'm out.
Uh-oh. We're having 100 delays. Video's gone. He's muted. There he is.
Still good.
No, I'm back.
Hunter, was that one of your slam pigs?
No, that's not one of my slam picks. No, I by accident. You know, it's so annoying. The banner that comes down on your cell phone all the time. You guys don't have fucking iPhones, do you, Benny?
No, I got away from that.
What?
If I was doing a video call, I could not access it until I responded to anything that came in. It was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of annoying. So this thing called a banner drops down on your phone. If you touch the screen at all, which I was trying to do to get you, like I was trying to swipe up and it went off the screen. So
I like how well
I've been getting like 1,000 texts.
Driving a shitty iPhone feature that he dislikes. He talks shit about Androids in the same sentence. It's like,
well, listen, here's the thing. It's like, yeah, Android's a great phone, but literally everybody I know has iPhones. I wouldn't, like if FaceTime didn't exist, I FaceTime everybody. Only person I ever FaceTime who's not on iPhone is you, Benny, through Facebook Messenger. The rest of the people I talk to, I FaceTime because I live up on top of a mountain. It's fun to look people face to face.
Benny, can we address your voice message thing? Hunter, can you do an intervention with me?
What is it?
Benny, you're one of 3 people I know that insists on sending me voice messages.
Oh, dude, I'll blow his head off. Dude, I hate voice messages. And also, Yancy and I have been working on this project.
Yancy, Tim Sinnett, and Benny are the only 3 people who send voice messages.
People are delighted
so annoying
when my voice takes over their screen, okay?
Well, what if I'm in a place where I am 90% of my life where I don't want to like play something out loud and have the whole room hear it?
Yeah, be a human. Dude, my girlfriend does the same thing. It drives me nuts. But I've gotten used to it to the point. But the weirdest part about it is she sits down and she dictates everything that she does in her emails. And sometimes I think she's talking to me. I'm like, hey, what do you want? And then she looks back. She's like, no, I'm not talking to you. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. But like the whole day is just listening to her talk on emails. And
so if Hunter texts me and I am putting a kid down to sleep or I'm making dinner or I'm eating dinner with my family, I can read his text and I can get a message back if I need to, or at least know what he says. If Benny sends me a 3-minute voice message and I'm putting a kid down to sleep or I'm at a dinner table, I can't see it. I don't know what's going on. I can't even get a hint of what if I should, like, do I excuse myself and go listen to it? Or is it going to be like, hey man, I'm in Mexico and I'm on Quaaludes right now and I'm about to have like this Catwoman operate on my mouth?
If you notice, go back and
that sounds like the start of a great porno.
I type time sensitive information. So, hey, Hunter needs to adjust the time today. I'll text you that instead of send you a message. So if it's time sensitive, if you see it coming in an audio message, you don't have to listen.
I don't listen to him.
Yes.
I don't listen to him. Yancy sends me all these messages, and I'll just text Yancy. I'm like, hey, man, my service sucks here. I don't get your audio text message. I see all of them. I just never press play. I lie. It's not a bad lie. It's not like I lied to you and I'm like, hey, man, like you're one of my best friends and then I'm stealing money from your bank account. It's more of like a white lie, like casual, like, hey, I just got bad service.
What you have to say.
Now, I like the concept of it. You'll never have autocorrect. You'll never have like miscommunication. You won't miss out on sarcasm because the text doesn't show it. But it's just so inconvenient to me. It annoys me.
A little secret. It's not always about you guys, okay? Because my skill set of being able to talk live has gotten so much better because I do that. I can talk dirty like nobody's business now because
to a girl,
I'll talk dirty to you right now. I don't care, dude. The eloquency that I can speak with now because I don't text anymore. I don't email. Oh no, I have to email.
The eloquency of your dirty talk is what you're. This is what you're pointing to?
If your whole life revolves around you talking to these nasty Tinder dates that you pick up, it's meaningless.
Hunter.
So you're voice texting me so that you can better dirty talk someone in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
I want you guys to be aware of that. Every time you see a voice message from me, just know that it's probably followed up immediately elsewhere by the sexiest Rock of Gibraltar type audio a woman has ever heard.
You're like, hey, baby, I'm here with my missing tooth and this little bojangle that's hanging off my ears, and I'm just thinking about eating your ass cheeks anytime you get off work. Once you get done flipping burgers down at the King, you come on over here with that sweaty crack and bring it right to this tongue tip. Let's throw down. Is that what a typical audio?
This is why we had Hunter on immediately following the very content-filled DeWint episode.
Christ almighty. And I was listening to all those workouts. You think one person listening to that podcast could follow through on half of those fucking workouts? They're like, well, let's go in at a 420 pace and float for 50 meters, then float right back out to a 510, then float back into a 60 meter.
That was an example of a workout we did in college.
A skipper scammer, and then float right back into a 320, and then a float. Listen, I get it. I think that most people, I've realized, I've been a trainer for 10 years now. Dude, people just can't handle shit. Like, you give them too much complexity. It's either like you give them like 5 by 400. If you give them the floats in and out and stuff, dude, people don't know how to fucking do that.
No, you're right. And I was gonna agree with you. It made me think of, I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and he had, who did he have on there? I think Eve Edwards. He's an MMA fighter. It might not have been Eve Edwards. Doesn't matter. He was talking about the other guy in the lightweight division who's like this relentless grappler other than Khabib. You guys know Khabib Nurmagomedov? Anyways, the other guy who's up and coming, he's supposed to be the next big thing, but this guy's like, he's the only other guy out there that like puts terror in these guys who can grapple like him nonstop because his fitness is off the charts. He can just like go out and run 5-minute miles, man. And Joe's like, man, that's really good. And he's like, yeah, like he can go out and run like 5-6 straight miles, sub 6 minute pace. And Joe's like, he can run like 6 miles in 30 minutes. He goes, yeah. And he does it every time. He's like, man, that's like kind of like world class. That's really, really good. And then they just move on. And it made me realize like how often you hear people talk about just complete BS running stats that are out there. Like, yeah, there's this guy now, he just runs 6 miles in 30 minutes, just runs 5-minute miles all day. I swear, I've seen him do it. And this is a professional athlete saying that. Like, so yeah, I guess people listen to our workouts and they have no idea what the difference is between Eve Edwards' buddy who doesn't run 5 minutes for miles and what we're saying.
No, but Brakken, that right there is a pitch as to why we should continue to talk in such clarity so that people can stop being like, oh, Hunter's super fit. That means he probably runs like a 55 mile.
Well, there's this concept, and I wish I remembered the term. There's this actual concept out there that like when you're reading a newspaper and you'll read like 10 different articles or a magazine or something, and you'll read them all and be like, wow, that's incredible. Wow, that's incredible. Then you'll read something that's your knowledge base and be like, this thing is filled with errors. This author is an idiot. And then you'll go on and keep reading, but you'll keep assuming that they're right about everything else other than what you know. Uh-huh. Except the fact is that every expert has that same experience, which means all the articles and all the stories are filled with inaccuracies, but people just mostly believe what they hear. So we need a reason.
You know, my favorite thing is whenever you're talking to somebody and they start to throw out stats, they're like 90% of the time, this is the case, or like, you know, like 75% of the time or 20% of the time. Every single time you hear a stat, it's almost like it's the most obvious numbers of all time. It's never like 37.6%. It's always like 90% or like, you know, less than 10% of the time. It's numbers that just like don't seem to make any sense. And if I read books, like if you look right over here, dude, my whole room is just stacked full of books that I'm always kind of reading about sports science and everything like that. And I just feel like these stats, across the board, I can flip into any of these pages. They're all across the board the same exact numbers. It makes me feel like some of these things are fucking just bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like about 60% of the time it works every time.
Exactly. It's like that. It's exactly like that. And it makes me realize that I feel like nobody really knows exactly what they're talking about.
Well, it shows how inaccurate things are. People always talk about like this is like your lactic threshold. This is the pace you can keep for 1 hour. Like, well, maybe, but like, what if we kept time and our unit of time wasn't 1 hour? It was 52 minutes, or it was 65 was 1 hour. Would you now say it was 1 hour? Are you guys just talking ballpark here? You're just choosing pleasing numbers.
Dude, that's why every time I talk about CBD or supplements, I have such a hard time putting my foot down and being like, yeah, exactly this happened when I did this. So, like, I don't know if it's placebo. I mean, if it's placebo, that's fantastic. But
well, I think that CBD thing you brought up earlier, I just saw Brett Stewart post. He's just like, I don't know if I believe this whole CBD thing. I think the reason why people are not getting the effect that they really want out of CBD is because they're not taking nearly enough of it. I think the industry, a lot of these industries, like this fucking serving right here, I went to a triathlon.
Nice.
Sorry.
Good time.
Sorry. I went to a triathlon this summer, and they gave me this CBD thing where these servings are like 20 a piece. Dude, every single night I take 10 times this much to subdue the amount of soreness that I have in my body. That 25 milligram serving is fucking nothing. If you look at like a serving of like I take Advil. Average Advil serving should be like 200 milligrams. I take 800 milligrams because I'm a 200-pound guy with a super fast metabolism.
Yeah.
Well, it means one of two things. It means CBD industry knows that they can't over specify what to take because they're going to people are looking for reasons to shut them out. And if they make a mistake, they have to err on the side of caution right now, just so they can get the foot in the door. Or it means you have a tumor growing right now as we speak.
It's taken all that up. Well, it's interesting because you would think the industry would push for people that take more because then they would purchase more. You don't hear people often saying, oh, you need to take very little of this. It'll last you forever. Everyone's saying, no, take this pill, come back and see me a week, even if you don't ever need to see them again. So I don't know. Unfortunately, because it's so freshly legal, there's not a ton of scientific data pushing anything. And because it's not even fully legal in different states. And then the infrastructure of testing hasn't caught up. So technically, if I got tested, I would pop positive for THC because THC, even if it's taken at the legal federal level, it builds up in your fatty tissues over time. So you'll test higher than 0.3 at the end of the year, whatever. There's all kinds of shit.
I hope they test you now.
Who's going to test me? Spartan's going to show up.
Benny.
Just they.
All right, Hunter, you're coming to Worlds now, right? Are you making the transition back to OCR? Or is this a one-off donkey show?
It's probably a one-off for the most part. I'm not leaving obstacle course racing completely, and I'm not leaving CrossFit. CrossFit's so interesting this year where, dude, literally the rules are changing every single fucking week. It's insane the amount of changes that are happening. And I'll admit, I'm a competitor. I do not like this online qualifying bullshit. I don't want to video submit a workout. I want to compete by myself in my garage to compete against other people, maybe in Miami or Dubai or wherever the fuck I'm going, because it's hard to get the hype up just sitting by yourself and videotaping yourself doing burpees and deadlifts. I'm a competitor. I've competed ever since I've been, in middle school, wrestling and running all the way up until now. I thrive against going against another human being, not by myself. That's just the way I live. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go back more into OCR. I'll specifically go for the Tahoe thing first. Tahoe, we're doing a separate thing where basically I'm inviting 3 of the top CrossFitters in the world to come compete and do the beast with me on Saturday. It will be myself, Jacob Hepner, Chandler Smith, Sean Sweeney, all multiple-time CrossFit Games athletes, except for Chandler Smith.
Except for
in
you.
the military. Myself, yeah, exactly. And then you got Kempson and Isaiah, who are competing on the Spartan side, and we will be competing on Saturday morning in the Beast, and best points there applies to this overall point structure, where in the afternoon we're all going to be competing in front of like the open community. Anybody can come watch. We're going to be doing CrossFit style workouts with a Spartan style events and movements. So like
How many?
going through, I don't fully know. I was the one who came up with the idea of it. I was like, hey, let's bring these top level CrossFitters in and do this really awesome event of like, just like CrossFit Games, but the Spartan event. And now Yancy Culpepper is in charge of leading all the events. So we're going to have about 3 to 5 events that afternoon.
Cool. So you guys are doing it like team competition style, like cross country scoring or whatever?
Well, the thing is, yeah, it's going to be cross country scoring per event, but the idea is to see who is fitter, the Spartan race athletes or the CrossFit athletes, and who is the fittest of all, and we'll get the best score. So imagine like you go in and we run this that morning, and whoever the heck wins takes first place there. And let's say it's like a Spartan athlete, then a CrossFit athlete, then a Spartan athlete, then a CrossFit athlete. It's all mixed up. And everybody leaves with their points. The next workout, let's say a CrossFitter wins, and then it keeps on mixing up. Then a Spartan race athlete wins. And then the points overall, like, if I take first 3 times out of 5 workouts, I'm obviously going to win. So the goal is over the weekend to see if we can beat these guys and show that we're fitter. Like, obviously we have one workout that's very, very catered towards us, which is the Spartan event. But these CrossFit events are not going to be catered towards us. It's going to be like very hard.
Let's say there's 4 CrossFit in the Beast. Are the 4 going to be weighed to equal 1 Beast, or are all 5 events going to be equal in terms of points?
They're all going to be equal in terms of points.
Cool.
So you could sandbag it, but like you definitely want to get wins. If you don't get wins over 5 events, like you're pretty fucked.
Can you beat Isaiah and Kempson in a Beast right now?
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
I actually think a big part of the reason why I'm tired of CrossFit is because I just miss beating Isaiah. I thought more and more about this recently. This new High Rocks event's coming up, and then I found Isaiah was going. At first, I was like, I don't give a shit. I don't need to do another one of these events. Like
I'm going to do High Rocks.
And then I found out Isaiah is going to do it, and I was like, I can't let this fucker win. Like nothing would make me more upset than letting this guy win this thing. So now I just started running again. I'm getting like 20 miles a week, and they're not hard miles. Like I get 1 long run in a week to make sure I'm ready for the Beast.
You're going to do Miami High Rocks?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
I intend to as well.
Yeah. Listen, the thing is it's definitely catered towards somebody who's got a decently fit. Like if you can run a 36-minute 10K right now and you're really good at CrossFit, you're going to win. If you can run a 32-minute 10K and you suck at CrossFit, you're going to lose.
Isaiah's set up to do really well at it.
I understand. He's the kind of guy who can run a 36-minute 10K right now. Isaiah's never going to run a very fast 10K. He's a very fit athlete. He's not a super fast runner. We all know that about him. He could definitely still win stadium events because he's so explosive and dynamic. But that's what I'm trying to say. That 36-minute 10K and then being good at the row, good at the skier, good at the burpees, good at the wall balls and everything like that, all these kind of movements, you're going to win overall. Because I watched the guy who holds the world record, like what takes me to do 100 wall balls takes me 3 minutes flat and around 3 minutes flat. And it takes him almost 5 minutes. So
are you pulling his time from the competition or fresh?
The competition.
And you can hold that pace during the competition.
Yeah, dude, I do wall balls all the time. I just did wall balls today with muscle ups. Like wall balls is something CrossFitters do all the time. It's not a very challenging thing.
What weight are they using for High Rocks for wall balls?
20 pounds.
So it's light enough that like you said, that 36-minute runner with functional strength can get through that.
Totally. I told so many people like Faye's going to do this thing. And I was like, Faye, you're so fucked. Like just train wall balls. Like you're strong. I pushed sleds with her. She's just so awkward and fit. She can't she's going to fall over trying to do these wall balls and not be able to hit the target and stuff. Like that's probably the most challenging thing for everybody there.
Yeah.
And if you can't handle that quadricep load, and it's just going to blow you out for the running.
That concept of doing 1,000-meter runs in between each one, 1,000's long enough that it matters.
Yeah, but 1,000. I watched the guy runs a 6:08, I think, on every single 1,000. And a 6:08 pace on 1,000 is fucking nothing. That's basically running your 800.
You should be able to, I feel like you or I or Isaiah could recover at 4-minute pace. Recover at 4 minutes.
Totally.
So you'd be over 2 minutes ahead on every rep just by recovery, not even by pushing the run.
I get it. So, I mean, listen.
So is he just the record holder right now because no one else has done this?
I'll put it to you this way. One of the best guys who's ever done it was a CrossFit Games athlete from Germany. And don't get me wrong, I'm totally saying that guy's super fit, but I just know nobody in the CrossFit Games can break a 40-minute 10K. They're just not those kind of athletes.
Yeah, like I said, the 1,000-meter run is long enough that it matters.
Yeah, it does. It's certainly a running event. But if I put it to you this way, if you made me run right now 5 miles fast, I would probably I can't imagine that I would run 30 minutes. But I would just say like I hit 30 minutes. That'd be a bad score for me. 30 minutes, and then the world record, I think, is like 58 minutes. You're telling me I have 38 minutes to do a couple 1,000-meter rows, 100 wall balls, some sled pushes, some burpees, and some like farmer carries. Like there's not one person I know who I hang out with who'd take 38 fucking minutes to do those things.
So who would you pick in OCR if you had to pick like a 5-person squad to go do this? Who do you think's best suited for it?
Kempson's gonna do really fucking good. Like Kempson's just always been good at that stuff.
Matt.
You got Isaiah. Obviously, he's super fucking good. If I was still competing regularity, I would pick myself. I think you'd be really fucking good. I just don't know how. Like you really gotta take those sleds into factor, and you gotta really take that wall ball into factor for yourself. Unless you're training that kind of stuff, like it just stops you in your tracks.
Yeah. I think Kent would be good at this.
Kent would be really good at this. Kent sucked at. He didn't suck, but he was not that great at TMX just because I think the movements were too complicated for him. But Kent would be also another really awesome addition.
That's the thing that jumped out at me about this event is there's nothing technical. There's no Olympic lifts. There's nothing heavy. It's brute force or it's athletic based.
Yeah, but you even know how annoying those 20 push-ups are when you do a Spartan race. Even those, like 20 push-ups, you're like, huh, like it even shakes you up a little bit. Yeah,
but there's like OCR builds that type of fitness up, but it doesn't give you the type of fitness to like snatch or hang clean in the middle of something, you know? So like
totally. But I watched how easily everybody gets fucked up doing those ram roller things.
Yeah.
That's only 15 fucking reps. So let me tell you,
that's true.
When you're doing same speed of running with massive chunks of reps, I'm talking about huge 100 chunks reps of anything is very challenging.
But the workout finishes with 100 reps. That's the last station, right?
Certainly, but it doesn't matter. Like if you're total dog shit and you're not ready to fucking tackle it, it's going to take forever. Dude, earlier this year when I was in really, really bad shape and I was only lifting to get ready for CrossFit, I remember I had to do a workout that was 75 wall balls, 60 calorie row, 75 wall balls. I did all 75 wall balls, did 60 calorie row, and then I had to break up the wall balls like 30, 15, like 10, 10, 10, 5 or something like that because I was so blown out.
Yeah.
And that's only
true.
50 less. So trust me, like if you're not ready for it, you're not ready for it. It doesn't matter how fit you are. So I don't know. That's something I'm considering. I think the Spartan Race Tahoe thing is going to be absolutely epic. I tried to make sure that I could run with you guys on Sunday, but David Watson won't let me play. He says it's very, very strict rules this year where you have to have qualified if you want to be on the course on Sunday. So I'll just have to hang out with you guys on Saturday.
You can't just go around not qualifying and getting invited to every championship in the world, Hunter.
No, listen, I mean, I can't.
I'm just kidding.
I
don't care. I think they should invite more people.
I think they should invite more people. I think listen, I think they do this all in the sake of maybe getting this potentially in the Olympics. And I think they have better chances of increasing their business and the enjoyment of the whole experience by including more people rather than trying to create a more serious approach to it all. Like, I like how they decided.
Like Joe wants.
What do you mean Joe wants?
Joe sounds like he's more attracted to the hardcore approach of things, not to just increase the enjoyment and
not the enjoyment I'm saying, but like, if you want more people to come watch and you want more people to come participate, making it so serious is, I think, like CrossFit is making things so serious with all these cuts and changing all the rules. And I think it's making the sport worse. Trust me. I cannot begin to tell you how much it's going to ruin their model. And I don't think Spartan Race has gone that far in that direction, but it's certainly going to make things challenging for them if they try to make it too much of a professional thing. But, whatever.
But I'd like to see Spartan set aside like $50,000 and just pick like 5 or 10 people in other sports who have a unique athletic background and just pay them like 5 or 10 grand to like prep for 6 weeks and come out and do Tahoe next year. I'd love to see that. Be like, hey man, here's some money. Come test us out. Like, we're serious about this. We want to come prove that our sport's not legit. Come beat us at it, and we'll pay you what you'd miss in 6 weeks of competition, like some mountain runner. Like, you're going to make $5 grand in Italy racing. Here's $5 grand. Spend 6 weeks doing heavy carries and grip, and come try Tahoe.
They get annihilated, and we all know that.
I don't know, because here's the thing: all of us are good at it because we were outliers in whatever we did. Every sport has outliers. You give, let's say Joe.
Name one athlete you think could show up.
No, I'd say if you gave someone like Joe Gray, I'm not saying Joe Gray could, but maybe Joe Gray, if you gave him 6 to 10 weeks of just doing heavy carries and grip work, I think that he could be in the lead 6 to 8 miles into that race and maybe hang on, maybe not, but he would make things exciting.
Ryan Hall.
I think he'd still get annihilated.
I don't know. But like Joe Gray was Joe Gray still plays basketball. Like, he's athletic. He can move in multiple planes. People like that. Like, I know that there are guys who ran D1 who were better athletes than I was. There are videos all the time of like D1 cross country runners who are running 28 minutes in a 10K, tomahawk dunking, or going, highlight from them in high school football, like trucking people. Like, there are people who are more athletic than me and faster. Like, I know I'm not the outlier. So I'm sure every other sport has those same outliers who are also just faster than me. Could they come in right away? No, but I'd love to see Spartan, like, give them a training stipend. 6 to 8 weeks, prep for our world championship, come try to win 25 grand. And if not, here's 5 or 10 grand anyways. You can walk away with it, but it puts eyes on the sport.
The only way I could see that being profitable, or any reason that Spartan to do that, would be if these athletes were from sports that were big enough that gave them followings that could then turn around and drive other athletes or other participants into obstacle racing. Because if not, it would be like what Battle Frog did essentially. They were trying to create media presence that was there and great for the media presence, but the second it was over, it was over. So unless these athletes had a good experience, or they were like required to post on their big following Instagram or whatever about what was going on.
I'm not saying from a business perspective. I'm saying from a competition. I'd love to see some. Every year we get these no names that lead up the first climb and blow up and quit the race. Like, I want to see someone who can make it an hour and a half into the race and keep things spicy.
Little Morgan Aratola crying at the wall.
I mean, that kind of stuff is awesome for the sport. Yeah. Every one of them who fails makes our sport look better. And anytime any one of them scares them in the sport, it opens the door for more good athletes to come over.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be certainly interesting, but after just I've been talking to Spartan Race a lot lately, trying to get this whole project together. They wouldn't fork it over. But listen, they're not going to do it. And I think the product that they have is already pretty gosh darn successful, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the heck they do next year. But I don't know. I may or may not show up in more Spartan races next year just because I want to start running again. I fucking spent the whole last year not competing, and I was so massively bored.
Why don't you get to a bunch of sanctionals and a bunch of stuff like that and just compete like crazy at all these oddball events?
I'm certainly going to do that. I just tried to qualify for Wadapalooza, and I think I came just outside of the top 100. And to make it into Wadapalooza to compete, you had to be in the top 100. And that was probably the most competitive thing to get into besides the Open for the year. So I think I missed that. And unless people all turn down their offers, I'm going to go there. And I'm just going to keep on trying to make it into every single thing. But I also miss running. Like I can honestly say it's not CrossFit's fault. It's just the style of training maybe doesn't cater to my body well. But I just don't feel good. Squatting all the time, dude. My knees hurt, my back hurt, my shoulders hurt, my neck hurt. Doing handstand push-ups and landing on your head constantly exploding out. Your spine was never meant to have your whole weight cracked down on the crown of your head repeatedly. And taking 300 pounds and jerking it overhead and then landing down on your chest, on your spine, like explosively, it's not good. And I don't want to be this person when I'm like 40 years old who can barely get out of bed. So I'm really going to adjust my training a ton to be like 50-50, if not 60-40 endurance and then CrossFit.
Okay.
Well, so what are you, because everything I've known about you, Hunter, has been I don't dabble in things. Like you said, I'm a competitor and you like to be at the top of everything you're doing. You're shooting for the top. So it sounds like you're towing a line that's going to keep you from being at the top of either OCR again or CrossFit.
I'm waiting for the right event to make me excited. I don't think I want to be at the top of CrossFit is my point. I don't think it's worth the training. I just do not, as I said, it's like, it doesn't feel good. I think at this point,
do you think you would have said that had you come in top 10 at the games?
The same thing, dude. I wish I did well at least one event at the games and I would have walked away from CrossFit. I just wanted to win one event. Like I wish I made it through the rut sack and I quit after that. Like I would have been so happy. Because at least I would have been able to show what I'm made of. Because the CrossFit Games this year was so different than it's ever been before. Dude, the second, third, and fourth person at 2018 games, 2 of the people didn't even make it past the second day, and 2 of the people didn't make it into the 4th day. So it's like you're telling me the best people in the world from 2018 with regularity didn't even make it through the system this year. The system kind of cuts out people who are specialists and are able to accumulate big points in special places and then bring them up the leaderboard, rather than somebody who's very talented at everything and just has really high averages across the board.
Yeah.
So somebody who's like top 10 and top 20 and everything versus somebody like me who could be top like 3 in about 3 or 4 events and then back like, back 20% in the majority of the events and like, and the rest of them around the middle. Like it took people like us out of the game.
So is your competitive stubborn streak going to ensure that you give it a whole nother year like that, so that's not the way you go out? Or are you just going to keep your toe in the water and see what happens?
It's hard, man. It's really hard to decide because I don't want to waste another year of my athletic career. And I don't think I use that word lightly. I don't think ever challenging yourself to be better at anything is a waste of time. Like if you truly are giving it your all. But I don't know necessarily if I want to give it my all to be the best the way that these people are training. Because I know very well that a lot of the top athletes in the sport have hurt themselves very badly and are ruining their bodies. And I don't want surgery. I don't want chronic fatigue and pain all the time. Like I just remember, why is it a week of training for obstacle? Sorry.
We can still hear you.
So why is it a week of training for obstacle course racing that includes, 10 miles a day of running and 3 hours of biking in the afternoon and a couple of gym sessions makes my body feel like pretty gosh darn good, but tired and a little bit sore. Whereas probably about 2/3 of the volume or 50% of the volume of that doing CrossFit makes me feel like my vertebrae are out of place. So as I said, I don't necessarily blame the game. I'm blaming the player. I don't know necessarily if my body is designed for this. And I've been very open from the start of my journey into CrossFit. I don't feel great. And I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to work with different coaches. I'm trying to work with different body therapy. I'm taking tons of CBD. I'm trying not to be like one of these pill popping goons who you hear about all these football players who just take Vicodin for the rest of their lives because they're so fucked up. And you hear about these concussions and stuff. Like I'm learning that these people really meant what they said. Like I always made fun of football players. They're like, my body's so beat up. I'm like, you get paid $10 million a year. Shut up. I'm not getting paid $10 million a year and my body feels fucked up. So That's why I bring these things up.
So, I mean, that does beg the question, why is it that the people in that sport can take a day in, day out beating that isn't intended to be done for years? Like, are they all the freaks of the freaks with regenerative properties? Or like, is it just rampant PED use that allows people to recover?
I don't think it's rampant PED use. I think it's just tons and tons of years of training. Like Matt Frazier was an Olympic lifter who was on the national team living at the Olympic Center in his teenage years, and now he's 30. So he has 15 years of lifting at a level that I've only been working at for a year and a half. I don't think this guy started doing CrossFit just smashing barbell cycling, crazy repetitions and like things. I'm trying to compete at their level, so I'm trying to train at their level, and I think it takes years. That's why high school runners start running like 20 miles a week, and cross-country runners in college and track runners are running 120 miles a week in college.
No, you're right about that, but every sport across the board, no matter what style of sport it is, has to follow the laws of recovery. And it seems like CrossFit is the sport that throws those out the window and says if you want to be good, you have to have intensity every day in some way, shape, or form, and oftentimes multiple times. Why is it that they are the outliers?
I think some of them are just really good at it, dude. Only one person's ever made me. I think they're actually pretty intelligent. They don't train like that all the time. That guy, Jacob Hepner, I've actually hung out with him, and he trains like that all the time, and it blows my mind. Like, I don't know how the fuck his body handles it. He's doing 3 to 4 WODs a day that are back-breaking intensity.
And every documentary you watch about any games athlete, that's what every person around them says. Now, maybe that's hyperbole, but like, it seems like they're
I think it is. I think it is. I've hung out with a lot of these guys, and they're like house cats. Like they work really hard, and then they sleep the rest of the day.
This is one of the reasons that I like the kind of episodes, even though they can be drawn out and grueling to listen to, that Hunter or Brakken and Kirk did, is because I actually just watched, I don't know if this is an old video, but I just saw it. Spartan has a video on YouTube, Making Better Humans, or something like that. And in there, there's a quote by you where you say how it's a job to be a Spartan race athlete. You wake up at this time, you work out, you eat food, you go to sleep, and you do that 3 times throughout the day. And when you say that, it makes people come before I lived with you, and I realized that we train like that for a cycle, for a time period, not just around. I thought that's just what you do 24/7 all the time. 3 insane workouts a day. That's your entire life.
That's what I do every day.
Well, if that's what you do every day, I thought you were just saying that's not what you do every day. You are, and it's beating you to shit, and you don't like it.
It's beating me to shit, this style of training. Like waking up in the morning, like I had to contact my coach a couple days ago and be like, listen, dude, I can't do it anymore. Like I cannot bend my knees like that anymore. I just can't. It's destroying my body. My knees hurt. Like I just feel fucked up and sick all the time. And I'm still training 3 times a day, but I'm having to adjust things because doing a qualifier workout, which was thrusters, burpees, and rowing straight into a max clean and jerk all in 15 minutes. And then at lunchtime, doing squat cleans, 7 sets of 4 at 225 pounds, straight into clean and jerks, straight into back squat, straight into heavy jerks. And then in the evening, doing gymnastics, 100 handstand push-ups for time into 300 feet of handstand walking. Like, I don't think you guys understand the amount of load that is. That's like well over 30,000 pounds of lifting in one day, followed by like so much time under tension on your shoulders. Like there's a reason why your shoulder is the size of a softball, and the reason your ass cheek is the size of a basketball. Like your shoulders are not meant to handle the loads that your ass can push. But for some reason, doing tons of thrusters and clean and jerks and snatches, your ass allows your body to throw that weight overhead and then has to be caught by the softball size shoulders. So you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't make logical sense that people can do that for days and months and years and without help.
I really don't think that a lot of these guys are on steroids. I don't. I think
this isn't my assault on CrossFit. I believe that the top of most sports are tainted. I'm just saying that it's so obvious that they're training at intensities that other sports don't train at. Like they either are freaks of usage or they are freaks of what they can handle and recover.
Most of them are.
And that's the thing. Like, one of the greatest talents an athlete can have is to have an outlier trait, and the ability to recover is a real trait that the top of sports have. And it would be and it's kind of crazy that CrossFit might have more of that than any other sport.
But I also think certain body types are meant for certain workloads. Like, there's a reason why all those guys in the top 10 at the CrossFit Games this year were all under 5'9", and they all weighed 190 pounds. They're completely designed for it. It's almost a genetically designed, perfect, like, carbon copy of G.I. Joes meant for that sport. There's a reason why everybody at the Olympic 10K is all between like 5'4" and 5'7" and weighs 120 pounds. There's a reason why, like, long jumpers are all like 5'11" to 6'4". Like, there's a reason these body types are specifically designed for certain athletic performances.
Yeah. Well, and it speaks to CrossFit's advancement that you're starting to need that. It means your sport is starting to peak, or at least come into its own, when you can't get by anymore unless you fit the archetype of what is needed for that type of work.
Completely.
OCR is not there yet. You have tons of body types. That's when we'll know we've come full, is when body types start to thin out.
Yeah,
well, I think it's pretty close, dude. I don't think there's anybody been ever over 150 pounds on the podium at Spartan Race World Championships besides me.
Yeah.
No.
You make a podium?
I did it back in 2013.
Oh, that's right. Well, then if we count that, I was 170 pounds in 2012.
Well, I guess you're right.
Right. And my point is, the sport wasn't what it is in 2012. Anyone could have made that.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. So at the top of the sport, it matters. And when it gets to the point where you can't make a pro team unless you're 5'5" to 5'10" and 150 or under, that's when we'll know.
Yeah, and I think both sports are really polishing themselves up to be in certain directions. Like, I think when things like TMX come up or High Rocks come up, I don't know if you consider those obstacle course racing. At least High Rocks is not. I think it's just kind of it gives opportunities for athletes who are a little bit outliers in our sport to be able to test themselves in new directions. So I don't know. We'll see. It's certainly going to be a competitive year in each of the sports. And I think Tahoe is going to really kind of reinvigorate my energy to get back into running, because all I want to do is just crush people's souls. I miss competing. I want to talk trash. I want to go have fun again. And I hope to see everybody out there. I hope to see you out there, especially Brakken.
Well, we just had our third check-in at the doctor today, and Ayla's bone came back in a degree and showed signs of healing. So it looks like surgery is no longer on the table.
Ooh, that looks like, well, congratulations. And looks like you're coming to Tahoe, baby.
Going to Tahoe.
Ooh.
But it has to be the Ultra Beast now, because like you, I'm not qualified for the Beast.
Why don't you do the Ultra Beast? Yeah.
I'm doing the Ultra.
Should be a piece of cake.
Yeah, it's going to be really easy.
Honestly, what's your big deal about it? Atkins would probably do that and run the Beast the next day.
Yeah. You talk about people who have that at a DNA level, a gift of recovery and regeneration, and he has it like no one else I've ever seen.
True. I think he could have been a world champion by now if he didn't just dick around so much doing crazy shit. But I think what makes him happy is what he should continue to do.
Yeah, it would be. I feel like he's the story of his life is going to, not the story of his life, but the final line on his career is that he unfortunately had to live in the time of John Albin.
Dude, he could have beaten John Albin by now.
Yeah, but it hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened because I think John Albin's so precise with his training. That dude, like, there's a reason, like, he's an absolute analytical beast, and he's dedicated to the training that's laid out ahead of him. He hits his long distance races, he hits his specific OCR races, and he comes and wins the titles that he has to.
Ryan's a victim of his success in multiple areas.
Oh no, it's got to be exhausting. But if Ryan just was stopped running 100-mile races and then going into doing a Spartan race that's 2 weeks later into biking across Canada in the winter and stuff, he would probably be a world champion in multiple things that he hasn't hit yet.
As it is, he's come up within 30 seconds twice.
I know. It's got to be so painful.
I think.
So has he just written off Spartan Worlds by doing Eco Challenge right now, or is it not going to matter?
I think it's definitely going to matter, dude. You can't do that kind of volume and get away with that kind of stuff. But I hope it doesn't matter for him because he's a fucking animal. He's the Canadian Wolverine.
Yeah. Is Johnny going to win this year?
No, I mean, I think Johnny's super, super talented. I just don't know if he's got the beans between his legs that when the big dogs come out and start pushing that crazy pace. But I think he's got the talent to do it. He definitely has the legs to do it. I just don't know if he's got the beans yet.
Well, there was only one person that he hasn't showed the beans to yet, and that's Alvin.
I think, but my point is, I think Atkins and a couple of the other guys, like, I don't think from what
he hasn't faced them at their best at a big rate.
Yeah, for discussions that I've had with Killian has not been trying anything at all for the entire year, and he's putting all of his eggs in the basket for Spartan Race World Championships and the rest.
Certified.
I believe half of that.
I mean, I know the guy well at this point, and I think that he's a fucking very dedicated person. And he's got an ego, and he's too hardworking just to allow. Oh man, you should see this bar of sweat that I just left down the ground from my ass cheek sitting in that chair. He's too tough. But listen, I hope Johnny has a great race. I'm just going to be totally honest. As much as I want to kick it with you guys, my phone's going to die in like a second.
All right.
Typical Hunty, you want to give a quick plug for your training program?
No. I mean, listen, here's the thing. If you guys want to train, I think Obstacle Dominator is an awesome opportunity. Like, I think I worked with them earlier, and I think I saw what you guys have been doing. It's super cool. Everybody's got different styles of training. Obviously,
he said a plug for your training.
No. I'm not trying to plug. I'm giving everybody a plug. I think anybody who's listening to this podcast and is trying to do better, there's a reason why I've done as well as I have. It's because I spend as much time reading as I do training, and I do as much time hiring coaches as I do training myself and coaching other people. And I think if you want to get better, you got to fucking dedicate yourself, and you got to go out of your comfort zone and try something new, learn from it. And once you're done learning from it, it's either you continue with that process or build your own process. So I think either program's awesome. Mine's probably geared a little bit more towards strength training and WODs and certain kinds of runs. And I don't know what your guys is, but I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of fun too. I like looking good naked while I run. So
this is the strangest commercial I've ever heard.
No, dude. No. We started with a really weird commercial. We're ending with a really freaking weird one.
I mean, listen, I was trying to be kind and promote your guys' thing as well. I was just telling anybody, if you want to do well, you gotta take it seriously and go buy some program.
Such an honest effort. I don't know what they're fucking guys, but do it.
Dude, dinner's on the table.
Literally walking away right now. So we'll let you go, man.
I love you guys. I gotta go.
I'll see you in Tahoe.
It was great.
Bye.
Visit obstacledominator.com for show notes, training, and racing resources. And leave your question for Beni and Brakken.